Good morning, everybody. We are thrilled to be back for another year, the second year of the Edmentum, Illinois YouTube channel presents. We are thrilled to get going here for another year. And really remember, the purpose of this segment is to bring people together, whether you're back in person, whether you have some kids who are still remote, whether you've got something in between. The purpose of this segment and the purpose of this YouTube channel is really to keep educators connected and to support one another, not only across the state, but across the country. And as you guys can see here on either side of the screen, I've got two new colleagues here in Illinois. The first one I would like to introduce is Meredith Wittich. Meredith is right over here to my left on the screen, and she lives in Plainfield, and she works with our partners at Edmentum in Cook County, DuPage, and Will counties. And then over here on this side, we've got Casey Stone, and Casey lives down in Texas, but he is our Ed Options Academy guru. And so he's helping on the virtual school side of things as we help schools and districts across Illinois who need teachers for one reason or another. So Meredith and Casey, welcome to Edmentum and welcome to this fun little segment that we have every week on the YouTube channel.
Thanks,
Jason.
Happy to be here.
Happy to be here.
Excellent. And we do have a new format now. So we have new people, and we also have a new format this year for our weekly feature. We're going to invite guests from around the state and even across state lines here. And the new format, we've got lots of different options. We're going to let the guests choose. And we've got a possible feature of what are you reading? We've got one on social emotional learning. We've got one called Sticking Points, about things that stuck last year that are currently still being used in your local district. And of course, we've got Friday Fact, Fiction, and Fuzzy, bringing that back. And we always have guest choice. So we've got new people, new format, and guys, we've already got guests lined up all the way through the winter holidays. So we've got some excitement around the new angle here for our YouTube channel. And we have a trio of superintendents to get us going and to kick off the school year. We have Dr. Mike Lubelfeld from North Shore District 112. You guys recognize him down there, lower left-hand side of the screen. We have Dr. Nick Polyak, Superintendent of Leyden High School District 212. And we have Dr. PJ Caposey, Superintendent of Meridian District 223. And they were contributors last year to Friday Fact, Fiction, and Fuzzy, and they couldn't wait. They were actually beating down the door to be on this segment here to start out the year. They are, of course, all published authors, but then they're also hosts of the Superintendent Chat on Twitter. Great follows on Twitter if you don't already. Guys, how are you today?
Good morning, and thank you for having us, Jason and Meredith and Casey. It is an absolute pleasure to be with you, and obviously honored to be here with PJ and Nick as well. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
PJ, all right, go ahead, Nick.
No, thanks so much. Glad to be here. Mike always just talks first, so we just let him go.
And long, first and long. It's good to be here. Nice to see everyone.
I love it. So we'll go ahead and get started. We got 3 questions for you. You guys want to talk about what are you reading? So I will send it to Mike first. Mike, what are you reading, sir?
All right, well, I've got 2 books that I'm reading right now. So the first one is Row the Boat by John Gordon and PJ Fleck. And this is really a hat tip to our good friend and fellow Illinois Superintendent, John Bartelt, for really always going into that positivity, going into that purpose finding, going into that motivation that may or may not be in education, but it may be out in industry or out in sports or out in the other world. So this is a never give up approach to leading with enthusiasm and optimism to improve your team and your culture. So Row the Boat, I highly recommend. So a nice short read. And you get some inspiration about Coach Fleck and also John Gordon for the energy bus. So I appreciate that because it helps me stay grounded as to my purpose, my why, my struggle as an educational leader, as a father, as a husband, as a human being, really. And I'm also rereading our book, The Unfinished Leader, a school leadership framework for growth and development, because Nick and I are joining a friend in California for an online book chat with Renee Bryant, shout out to our friend on the West Coast. So I'm rereading the book to get reacquainted with some of our key takeaways and a lot of our how-tos. This is really a neat school leadership framework, but we're very proud and blessed to have each other's friendship, fellowship, and collegiality, where we're looking at the world through a framework that helps us lead through and with empathy and equity, adaptive change, development of others, building up capacity of others, looking at leadership as a mirror. We're unfinished. We never actually arrive. So between Row the Boat and Unfinished Leader, I'm getting some good inspiration and some good refreshing leadership mojo as we continue on in our school year under these somewhat insane times.
Right. Thanks, Mike. I'm going to turn it over to Nick now, and I'm going to ask Nick, somebody reads your book, The Unfinished Leader. What is it that you're hoping they're going to get out of the book? What is there one big key takeaway?
Great question. Thanks, Meredith. When we sat down to write that, we had this, the three of us had this conversation about over our careers, we always hear people talking about, I want to be the best version of myself. And how do I become the best version of myself? And we think that there's some troublesome pieces to that way of thinking. And so what we're asserting is that there is no such thing as the best version of yourself. There's only the next version of yourself, that we are all in this constant iterative process. Each one of us is new and different every single day. And the more that we can embrace that and really own the fact that we're constantly learning and changing and developing, just like our schools should be, just like our communities are, just like our families are, we think that's a much more positive mindset to embrace. And then that really opens you up because, you know, previously we wrote the book, The Unlearning Leader, about how we need to unlearn old ways to make room for new realities. I think in order to do that, you have to first acknowledge that you're unfinished and that your school district is unfinished. And so we just want people to kind of look at this framework and say, all right, where are we unfinished as a school district? Where do we need to go next? Where am I unfinished as a person? Where do I need to go next? And hopefully we can help inspire people to think that way.
As a self-proclaimed perfectionist, I love that idea and notion. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Casey.
Thank you so much. I'm going to step in. I'm going to direct my question to PJ. PJ, in 2021, in the landscape of education that we're in, why do you recommend this read to other, colleagues across the country, across the world, international superintendents?
Well, I think clearly, was constructed with brilliance, as you've seen. I think the number one thing that I would like to impart is that I think everyone should just be reading. So the long and the short of it is that people right now in schools throughout the country and throughout the world are leading through crisis. And what we tend to do during that is we try to retreat and relax. And what I have found, and what research kind of proves out, is that the way that we typically relax doesn't recharge us. And so if we want to be ready to do the challenges of the job, we have to continually be very focused and intentional about how we're deploying our time so that we can come back recharged. And one of those ways is to kind of flex those mental muscles through reading, through introspection, through reflection, and through adding tools to that tool belt, which obviously you can do in literally thousands of educational books are published every year now. We would think that ours stands up right there with all of them, and particularly under the consideration of, like, we should never be satisfied with where we are. If you look at the credentials that, whether it's the three of us or you take any handful of other educational leaders, your credentials are great. And like, I like the plaques on my wall and they make me feel good when I look at them, but that's not who I am. Who I am is something about character and the culture that I'm trying to build and the legacy that I'm trying to leave behind in my district and with my family and with those that I've had the ability and privilege to lead and to serve. And I think that that's what this book kind of hits on, is it kind of helps us understand our place, our ability to leave a legacy, and our ability to continually strive for a little bit better than we are each day. If we can get 1% better each day, I know it sounds like a coaching cliche or a moniker, but it's the truth. If I could be 1% better than I was the day before, I have the chance at impacting somebody else. And if all of us that went into leadership did that, right? Like, we're here to make things a little bit better for somebody else. And I think that by reading the book, hopefully we can inspire people to continue to do that.
Thank you.
PJ, thank you. The Unfinished Leader is the title of the book, and it is authored by our three distinguished guests here today. PJ, where can you find the book so that people know?
Everywhere and anywhere. So you can find it on Amazon. You can find it on the publisher's website. Wherever you go, we would love if you bought it off of Amazon and rated it well and left a favorable review. That'd be wonderful for us. It really impacts our algorithm, which I don't think people necessarily understand when they're trying to support, whether it be local authors or people they know. Taking the extra 2 minutes to leave, rate, and review really impacts the algorithm and how things play out on Amazon. I don't know
Jason,
if Mike and Nick would agree with that, or if they'd want to point people in a different direction.
Thank you, PJ. Support you and affirm your statement, sir.
If listeners don't like the book, then Jason, maybe you can include Mike's home address in the show notes, and they can go provide that feedback in person.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a quick drive up in the driveway and just provide that. Yeah, I like that. I like that, Nick.
Thanks.
All right, everybody. Well, they are the authors of The Unfinished Leader, Dr. Mike Lubelfeld, Dr. Nick Polyak, Dr. PJ Caposey. Gentlemen, we really want to thank you again for your time out of your very busy schedules to be our first guest for the new school year on our Edmentum, Illinois YouTube channel presents. Guys, thank you again for your time and best wishes to you all for a wonderful school year.
Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for great leadership in the industry. And thanks for taking time to speak with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for supporting the field. Good luck with the show this year.